And here I have some veal scallopine that I got from the butcher, and it's really important for you to know your butcher because then you can get exactly what you want. And let me tell you a little secret. When you want to do scallopine, you tell the butcher that you want that veal cut from the top round. And that means against the grain, not with the grain. Because if you cut it with the grain, it's going to buckle and it's going to be tough when you cook it. So now that you know that, the first thing we have to do is pound this veal down so it's all the same size. And I usually do that between 2 sheets of wax paper. So get out 2 small sheets of wax paper. And then, this is my nifty, nifty little pounder. I got this when I was in Italy, but you can find these in a good gourmet cook store. And you want to take the veal slices one at a time, put them between the sheets of wax paper, and pound them down. Now, these are going to cook very quickly, but you want to make sure that they are an even thickness. And to do that, grab it in your hand and swing it outward. Don't go like that. Swing it outward until you have the piece uniformly and just where you want it for thinness. Just like that. See how easy that is? And you can also do 2 or 3 at a time. Some mushrooms. Funghi freschi, as they are called. Funghi freschi. And we want to get them going in some olive oil. So I'm going to put a little olive oil in a pan here. Actually, I want the mushrooms to exude their juices, so I want to make sure that they're pretty dry before I do the next thing after they're cooked. So get the olive oil going in a pan. And here are some mushrooms that I've already cut up. And for this, you can use just generic button mushrooms. You could use cremini mushrooms. You could use portobello mushrooms. If you had access to porcini mushrooms, that would be even better. But we live here, not in Umbria. So I'm going to put the mushrooms in and let them cook a while. Now, before I go any further, let me tell you about cleaning mushrooms because it's so easy. I never put them in water because I think that just waterlogs them too much. It's better to take just a wet paper towel and wipe off the mushrooms. Or you can buy one of those cute little mushroom brushes that you see and clean them that way. So now, let me show you my trick for cutting mushrooms. I love this little gadget. I use an egg slicer. So where the egg normally goes, I put mushrooms and just slice down. And you get evenly sliced mushrooms. Isn't that wonderful? So now that can go in the pan. And I hear the sizzle, so we've got to give that a little bit of a stir here. So we're going to stir these mushrooms around and let them go. And everything gets cooked in the same pan. You see, they're taking on a little color now, and they're beginning to exude a little juice. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper on that, just for a little flavor. You need about 8 ounces of mushrooms to do this dish. And they're browning up beautifully, so I didn't want to forget about these. So now we're going to take those out right into a bowl, because in this same pot, I want to cook my veal, my scallopine. So all of these mushrooms come out. We're going to add them back later. And then in the same pan, we want to put a little bit more olive oil and get that hot. And now we're going to add the veal. So, and this is going to cook just about a minute on each side. So again, getting those beautiful slices that have been pounded down, we add the veal and only put as many as will fit comfortably in that pan. You don't want to crowd this because you want this to cook evenly on both sides. Another one. And you watch that, because remember what I told you about cutting veal against the grain. Those are not going to shrink, believe me. I'm going to turn them over. You see how nice and gray they are and how flat they stayed. All of them get turned. And now we want to flavor this because veal by itself, you know, doesn't have too much flavor. So we want to add a little bit of pepper. Okay, now to flavor this, we want some capers. These are capers, and they are the unopened flower bud of a plant that grows in the Mediterranean. They're pretty pungent. You can get them in salt. You can get them in brine. These are in brine. And again, we want a little bit of parsley with that. So here we go again, making that battuto. So we mince this all up together, and this becomes the flavor for our dish, for our scallopine di vitello. And that goes in with the dish. And now this is one of those dishes where you want to have some wine. And I'm going to put in, about 2/3 of a cup of this Montefalco Rosso. This is going to help give us a nice, wonderful sauce. And then with it, we want a little bit of lemon juice. So cut up a lemon and squeeze that in. And then add back these mushrooms. Oof! Doesn't get any better than this, folks. And I'm telling you, when you bring this to the table, you will have created this in less than 5 minutes, and it will taste delicious.